Is a low-priced iPhone coming out in 2020? Stay tuned. Hey, what's up? So I want to go through a couple things. There's been a bunch of rumors that a new iPhone might be coming out, and it's basically going to be the new iPhone SE 2. So I got a couple bit of notes here from what people are saying and things like that. So I just wanted to get into it in this video and kind of go over what we think this phone might be. Is it really going to come out in 2020? And is it going to be worth your money, or is it going to be, a piece of crap? So we have to figure that out. Let's kind of go through the rumors and see what this is all about. All right, so iPhone has about 6 different models of phones right now that are in their lineup. And is there room for the 7th phone, this SE2, iPhone SE2, which is going to be a low-priced phone? The rumor is it's going to be a $399 phone. So think about that for a second. Why would they do this? Why would they need a $399 phone in this market when they're doing so well in the high end? Well, the question really comes down to the market shift. There's such good phones right now that are coming out. And if you think about it, there's phones that are coming out from all over the world, basically. You can think of, the Google, even Google came out with the 3A, which is actually, one of them's $349, one of them's like $4 something. And they have the really good cameras and things like that. Also, Motorola's bringing out really good phones every year. The OnePlus One, those type of phones, and it's going to be OnePlus, I guess, 6 now or 7. They're a little bit higher, but they're coming out in that mid-market. The Pogo phone comes to mind as well. And those phones are really, really good phones. And they're coming in at costs that are in that $300 to $400 range, $500 range, and it's really taking the market over. A lot of these places, too, if you think about it, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, your phone was always kind of free, and then you would basically pay your cell coverage bill, and they would give you a free phone at the beginning of the 2-year contract, and then you just get another one and another one. Now people are actually having to pay for it out of pocket, and these phones cost thousands, sometimes $1,200. And what Apple's seeing right now is that the cycles are really taking a lot longer for people to change phones when they buy a phone that's that expensive. And the cycles are a lot quicker when they buy like a $400 to $600 phone, somewhere in that range. And that makes sense, obviously. People don't want to, first of all, it's coming directly out of their pocket in a lot of cases, or it's being wrapped into their bill at a much higher cost. Or, people are just realizing that it's not, there's not that many changes anymore, where phones were incrementally changing a lot more before. They're changing a lot less now every year because the technology's gotten so good. All these mid-range phones have really good cameras now. They're fast enough where they're not basically staggering when you're trying to go through things. And they can do all the, they have fingerprint readers and everything that you basically need in a phone. So this is where we are right now. All right, so where are all these rumors coming from? There's a bunch of different places. I mean, if you look online, CNET's got pages on them and some major companies. There's one guy here, though, that basically, I'm going to see if I can say his name, but he's from TF International Securities, and his name is Ming Chai Ku. And he said he thinks it's coming out in 2020. I guess he's kind of a big player, and he's made a lot of predictions that have been correct. He's seen also kind of manufacturing parts and things like that are possibly rumors. The question is this phone going to come out just in the United States, or is it going to come out in India and China, or only in India and China, and for those type of markets? He thinks it's going to be coming out maybe first in India and China, and then really shortly thereafter America as well. All right, so if they come out with a $399 phone, what are you going to be getting? What he actually is saying is it's going to be very close to an iPhone 8. So if you think of the iPhone 8's design, they're going to actually, it's not that they're going to go backwards on some of the internals, but they're going to want to reuse some parts that they can actually do to get the cost way down there. So picture an iPhone 8, which we'll put up, and then basically you can see what it's going to, kind of look like, and there's going to be some possibly added features to this, and I'll go over those in a second. But that's generally what they're thinking that kind of the die will be, and it's going to be a glass back, they're thinking, and it will have, one of the upgrades is going to be the charging that's remote charging, so you can actually lay it down on a charger and it'll charge because of the glass back. Now, one of the other things that Apple's trying to do with this phone, and if you think about it, it makes a little bit of sense, is like all the phones got really big, and girls have usually small hands. There's still a lot of people, including some guys, that just want a small phone. And basically, I mean, the older phones in the 4s, like 4.1 inches or something, maybe a little bit too small. But he actually is predicting that this phone is going to be between 4.7 and 5.4 inches, so somewhere in that range. So it's going to definitely be a device that's a little bit smaller. And that obviously is going to be something that really helps, hit that market. And that's going to be a reason why the phone, they can justify the phone being less expensive as well, in that $399 to low 400, somewhere in there. They don't want to kind of saturate their other part of the market, so if they keep the phone smaller, a little bit smaller, the people that want the big phones really don't have an option there, and it shouldn't really dig into too much of that market for them. All right, so some of the other things he had said is basically, obviously it's going to be close to the iPhone 8, but some of the things that they actually were talking about is it's going to, let me see here, it would have and this is another reason why it would be a little bit different than most phones, it's not going to have Face ID, it's going to actually have a physical fingerprint button, which a lot of people still like. So, for people that absolutely cannot use Face ID or they'll switch to a different platform, this gives them an option of using the button. It'll be a cheaper phone, obviously it has to meet their needs, but at the same time it'll be in the Apple lineup to have that if this does come out. That's what's rumored right now. Some other things here just to go through. Colors they're thinking are going to be silver, gold, and space gray. So those could change. They think it could obviously be some of the older SE colors as well, or some more of those rainbow colors that you see every once in a while, like the blues and the yellows and things like that. But generally speaking, they think they're going to keep these more professional colors, just because they don't want to make them seem cheaper. They just want them to, obviously there's going to be a little bit different specs on them, but they still want to have the same Apple experience as the other higher end phones. He also claims that the antenna will be upgraded for sure, just to deal with better Wi-Fi and things like that. Obviously issues back then were a little bit different, so that'll be upgraded. He also thinks that the chip is the one thing that everyone's wondering. And it's not going to be the old chips, but he thinks it's going to be anywhere from an A11 to an A13 chip. That's going to be in these phones, and that's going to be one of the huge cost savings for them. Is they're not going to go with the newest and greatest. They don't think right now, but you never know. So that's just a rumor. Obviously, it could change, but that's what they're thinking on the phone. All right, and the phone should have about 3 gigs of RAM. And that's obviously pretty standard, but it's up from the older SE by quite a bit. And the Apple's obviously, they don't need a lot of RAM, so it seems like a lot of the Apple phones, they have less RAM than the Android anyway. So 3 gigs should be fine on a device this small with a screen that small. They think that the actual front-facing camera will be between 5 and 7 megapixels, and then the back camera will be a 12 megapixel shooter, and have some of the newer technologies built into it. So it's going to be people probably won't accept a really bad camera, even going back a couple generations. They weren't terrible back in the 8s, but I think they're going to go with a little bit newer optics on those as well, as what he's thinking. So it should be a little bit upgraded camera, but it's not going to have definitely multiple lenses. It should only be a single lens on that. All right, so finally, they think that there'll be no bump on the back of the phone, which is nice for people that want to lay the phone flat. So it's going to be a flat back on the phone. They also think it's going to be between 1700 and 1900 milliamps for the battery, which should be totally fine for a let's say average 5.1 inch phone or 5.4 inch phone, somewhere in there. So that should be good. And then the last thing is the headphone jack, they think may come back on this phone, because it's going to be people that don't want to buy the wireless headphones and things like that. So it's going to hit that a little bit cheaper market there. So that could be a huge advantage for people that just want to kind of even a burner phone or something to take with them if they want to use their headphone jack on like maybe a plane flight or something like that. And then finally, they did say that the notch at the top, it might actually have a notch on it, and so the screen in the front might change a little bit as well to give it kind of a different look, even though it's the same kind of back chassis as some of the older versions. So long story short is this coming out, and does it make sense for Apple? You guys tell me. I think realistically it's a crapshoot right now, but it looks like there's a lot of articles coming out right now on it. And if they do it, I mean, what do you think? What are your idea? Do you think this is a good idea or a bad idea for Apple? They have to compete against these phones that are coming out all the time that are basically, eating their lunch on the low end. And, will this take away from their high end? Let me know your thoughts and things like that. And this was just a quick example of a video that, it's an unknown, so I have no idea if it's going to come out, but let me know your thoughts. And, there's some rumors out there that it could. All right, thanks again for watching. If you guys can hit the like button and subscribe. I make a lot of videos, usually about 2 to 3 a week, and some of them are basically going to be based on financial stuff. I do a lot of like car, financing and stock market financing, but I do a lot of tons of Apple type products like the iMac behind me and things like that. So go ahead and subscribe. I do other tech videos if you like PCs as well. Phones I'm going to get more into and things like that as well. So hit the subscribe button to help me out, and I will be hopefully having another video coming up here in the next coming days. Talk to you soon.